Hey everyone, Joe here with Think Small VW Engine Repair. I got my bearings in, no pun intended, for this engine here, the 1600. It's going to be going in the 66. If you've been following me, you would watch the process of taking it apart and everything, so be sure to check those videos out. And today I'm going to be starting to assemble it, so stay tuned. As you can see, I put the new bearings in. I got a brand new camshaft that's going to be on in this guy. The only thing is with these bearings these days is the thrust. The thrust sometimes is way off, and you have to actually sand that down. It'll fit in there, but where it gets caught up is right here. It gets stuck. So you have to just slowly sand it down. You have let's see. I have all the specs, so I'll figure out what the thrust is supposed to be on it, and then I have a meter, and I'll check it. And then I like to put both cases together with the cam in it, and I will check the end play and check to see if it'll turn smooth, because if it doesn't, then that's a whole nother issue. So, all right, that's the next step. If you can see right here, this guy doesn't have a recess for the bearing. That's a recess for the oil, but there's a little notch right here. And this one doesn't have it. If you can, I'll move over here. You can see this one has it. So I'm actually going to sand that off. I've had to do it before because I don't have the tool to put a recess here. And originally they didn't need them, but I guess with the newer bearings they decide to do that. So quick sand right here and should be good. I ended up taking a file, and see that? I just took it right off. And then I also took some sandpaper and just with some fine sandpaper and finished it off. And now it should fit right in there, just like so. There it is. Make sure it's clean, and that'll fit right in there like that. And then I like to get a soft hammer and just tap it in there. Make sure that's flush. I have several bearing sets extra, so if I mess it up, I have more where that came from. That's the nice thing about doing a few of these engines is you get extra parts. So, all right, now that we are all fitted, I'll put the cam in, tighten it down, and see if it spins. So we got it all torqued to spec. Got all these around here, which is crucial because those are going to put the pressure on the cam. Spins good. That's a good sign. I've seen them where it locks it up, so that's not fun. And then I got my meter over here. Turns out I tried it without the camera, and I gotta sand that bearing a little more on the thrust. So there's not enough play. I checked the manual, and you want between 1 and 5 thousandths, and it's less than 1,000th. So I'll take this apart, do it again. That's part of it. All right, so I sanded a little more off, put it back together, and it turns out to be right around 2.5 thousandths. So that's perfect. It's right in the middle of the one. It's over here. Yeah, there we go. 1.6 to 5.1 thousandths. And the wear limit, which we don't worry about that. So there we go. Next thing is gonna pull that out, and we're gonna do the same thing to the crank. But first, I gotta put the crank back together. I gotta put the bearings on. I got a torch and I'll heat those gears up. So that's next. I always put the pins in. Oh man, I covered them up, but there's a pin on the back side. I always put new ones in. And then I like to put all the bearings in and mark them so they're aligned. That way when I put the crankshaft in, I know which way they go. And it's all ready. And also check to see if the bearings fit. I've had them where they are off, and that's not fun. But these are in good shape. Well, they're brand new, but they're within specs, so that all lines up. There we go. All right, so I got that bearing the right direction. Always want to double check that, because there is that guy right there, that pin, and it lines up on the inside. So I got it on the inside, got it all marked. I got this wood roof key in place. Want to make sure it's straight. And now for the gears, what I do is they're heated on there, so they get them hot and then they fit on there and then they re-shrink. So I just have a torch and I get them nice and hot. Make sure to get some heavy duty gloves because this is gonna be hot. I forgot to mention that you want to make sure that these line up, these dots here are on top so you can see them when you are lining it up with the camshaft. You'll line it up with, let's see, where is it? That guy right there. So those will actually go right in between there. So you want to make sure it's on the outside, which that's what I got. This one, I didn't have the wood roof key completely straight, so I had to kind of tap it into place. Most of the time, I can just slide it all the way down without using a hammer to tap it in. But other than that, it went pretty smooth. Next is going to be the spacer, which I got to find it. I'll put a spacer, goes right in here, and then the distributor drive gear. There we go. See, that's how it normally goes. Just drop it right on and it'll shrink. Oh, there we go. And then I'll put a ring, snap ring right here, and then the bearing goes right there. And then, let's see, and then I have a oil deflector washer that goes right there. So, all right, moving on. All right, so now that we got the crank together and we got all these dowels fitted, and then we got the half bearings in, I'm going to put the back and the front bearing on the crankshaft, put the crankshaft in, and then we're going to tighten it all down and make sure it spins. Also, another thing to check is to make sure that this will spin freely without it tightened down, because sometimes it'll want to pop this guy out. And so you gotta make sure that spins freely. So, all right, let's do that. In there. This is where it's important to make sure you've lined up all the dowel points. And so that one's lined up. You don't want to crush the bearings. I've done that. That's not fun. So I got that mark lined up. And then this guy's he's pretty easy. But his mark is going to be right. Just kind of got to feel around for it. There he is right there. And I will make sure that is lined up and that the marks are in place. Because without the marks in place, your engine's in bad shape. So I've never done that, but I don't want to jinx myself. So let's see, let's press this in. Oh, it fits good. That's what you want it to be. There we go. Make sure it doesn't hump that out. All right, that one spins good. Sometimes I've seen them where this guy will pop clear out because it's tight right here on these two gears. Parts are getting harder to get for these, but they used to make different sizes of gear for that. So we'll line that up, put the case together, tighten it all up, and make sure that the bearings press good. That's next. All right, so we got the case together. The number 4 bearing was a little off, so I had to hone a little bit the inside, which you gotta be really careful because you can take the integrity of the bearing away. So just a little bit. So that's why I always double check, triple check everything, because nowadays these parts are off. So did that. Next thing is we're gonna put this case together. So be sure to subscribe. That's gonna be my next video. So yeah, we're gonna be putting it all together. I'll tell you what sealant I use and all that fun stuff. So don't miss out. Thanks for watching.